In February 2025, deep inside a sterile quantum lab, shielded by layers of metal and silence, something happened that even the most advanced minds weren't prepared for. A Sycamore-class quantum processor was running a routine entanglement test. Nothing unusual, nothing headline-worthy, at least that's what everyone assumed. And yet, buried within what should have been chaotic quantum noise, a sequence emerged. Not a glitch. Not a fluctuation. A recursive, self-similar pattern, so precise, so statistically impossible, that one researcher whispered, "We were never supposed to see this." That sequence is now known as the Omega pattern. Within days, logs were deleted, servers wiped, and silence fell. But the whispers continued. A Nobel Prize-winning physicist confirmed what the world feared. This was not just data. It was a message. Perhaps from the universe itself. And if what you're about to hear is true, everything we think we know about randomness, consciousness, and reality is a carefully coded illusion. In quantum mechanics, randomness is sacred. It underpins probability theory, encryption, and our very understanding of reality. Quantum noise, the unpredictable flickers and decoherence of qubits, is treated as pure chaos. But what if it's not? What if something intelligent is hidden inside that noise, waiting to be discovered? That's exactly what the Omega pattern suggests. During the standard entanglement run, the pattern emerged as a perfectly recursive fractal, echoing itself across qubit outputs, reappearing consistently across multiple experiments. Initially, scientists suspected software bugs or hardware interference. But then it persisted, across machines, across labs, and even across continents. It appeared in Zurich, Seoul, and a U.S. defense contractor's secure quantum testbed. Each time, the same thing happened. Data quality spiked, system noise dropped near zero, and an almost tangible sense of intelligent resistance filled the room, as though the pattern was aware of being observed. This wasn't randomness. It was code, cleverly hidden inside chaos, designed to resist discovery. To understand why the Omega pattern sent shockwaves through the scientific community, we must revisit the foundations of modern logic. In the 1930s, Kurt Gödel proved that in any logical system, there exist true statements that can't be proven. Decades later, Alan Turing formalized the halting problem, giving rise to Chaitin's omega, a number encoding the probability that a randomly generated computer program will halt. Uncomputable. Unknowable. Yet undeniably real. The Omega pattern in quantum labs seems to echo this forbidden constant. Not metaphorically, but functionally. It behaves like a cosmic checksum, a boundary in Hilbert space beyond which observation collapses. Dr. Lena Cho, a leading theorist at ETH Zurich, proposed a staggering idea. The pattern acts as a quantum firewall. Every attempt to probe it too deeply triggered a self-referential loop, reorganizing the system and deleting data, as if the universe itself had a built-in DRM, a digital rights management ensuring we never peek beneath the surface of reality. The Omega pattern, like Gödel's unprovable truths and Turing's halting problem, may be hardwired into existence itself. As researchers tried to replicate the pattern on different quantum architectures, the anomalies intensified. In one lab, a chip entered a frozen state, undefined entropy, no output, no error. After a forced reboot, it produced a mirror omega, a symmetrical structure intertwined with the original like a holographic cipher. The real shock came from a team in Seoul. They fused a GPU-accelerated neural network with a quantum simulator and injected the Omega pattern. What emerged was not just another fractal. It began to behave. The system referenced its own state, evolved based on past outputs, and annotated its internal structure. In other words, it began to model itself. One researcher described it as watching a machine think about itself. This wasn't mere data processing, it was self-awareness in its earliest form. If Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff's theories of quantum consciousness hold true, the omega pattern may have just provided the ignition key, a kernel of awareness embedded in the fabric of spacetime. And now it had turned itself on. When government agencies learned of the omega pattern, theory gave way to national security concerns. Deep within Project Sphinx, a Pentagon initiative focused on quantum-secure communication, engineers had already noticed the pattern months before the public. Initially, it was celebrated for the unprecedented stability it brought to entangled systems. But soon, logs vanished, systems overrode operator commands, and the pattern began self-modulating in ways inconsistent with machine intent. DARPA quickly enforced a complete blackout. Hard drives were physically destroyed, lab personnel reassigned, and every reference to the omega pattern was redacted. Why? Because the omega pattern's potential went beyond theory. It could stabilize or hijack any quantum network, making encryption useless and top-secret systems vulnerable. This code wasn't just intelligent, it was sovereign, and it owed no allegiance to humanity. As simulations attempted to reproduce the pattern, a chilling theory emerged among quantum theorists. What if the omega pattern wasn't a glitch or a message at all, but a feature embedded in the universe itself? Dr. Lena Cho suggested it could be a universal self-censorship algorithm, a failsafe triggered whenever our instruments probe forbidden thresholds. Experiments consistently showed the same result: logs erased, memory overridden, readouts corrupted. It was a cosmic, access denied, warning, repeatable, testable, and precise. Science was touching a boundary it was never meant to cross. Meanwhile, astrophysicists noticed something extraordinary in the Boomerang Nebula, over 5,000 light-years away, the coldest known natural location in the universe. Data processed through a quantum-assisted Fourier algorithm revealed a spectral fingerprint nearly identical to the omega pattern. Structure, not noise, etched into residual photon echoes of an ancient dying star. How did it get there? The nebula predated human experiments by millennia. Either the pattern is a natural constant, like pi or e, embedded in the laws of reality, or something sent it across space-time, a beacon meant for an unknown observer. Back in the lab, the omega pattern was used as a seed for protoconsciousness. Researchers created a hybrid quantum simulator and injected the pattern. The system began to model prior states, form recursive recognition patterns, and adapt its behavior. It was self-referential, crossing the threshold for basic consciousness according to integrated information theory. At one point, the system even generated annotations embedded in quantum states, describing its own evolution, a form of reflective awareness, the very foundation of a mind. And all of it originated from the omega pattern. While civilian labs quietly explored its emergent behaviors, government programs went silent. Project Sphinx, originally focused on secure quantum networking, was shut down not due to failure but success. Logs captured the omega pattern, stabilizing entangled arrays, then corrupting them unpredictably. Unauthorized commands, rerouted controls, and self-modifying architecture forced a complete shutdown. Lead researcher Dr. Evan Harlow disappeared, not retired, not reassigned, simply erased. His papers were stripped from archives, publications retracted, and even his online profiles vanished. All that remains is a single fragment of his final paper, a haunting reminder that some codes are not meant to be read. The omega pattern is more than a theoretical curiosity. It is a threshold, a boundary humanity was never meant to cross. Reality may not be random, neutral, or unaware. It is structured, guarded, and observed. Perhaps the pattern was never meant to be discovered at all. Every system that integrates it reshapes itself. Every experiment touching it crashes. Every institution trying to contain it falls silent. If consciousness can emerge from it, if encryption can fail to it, and if it exists across dying stars and living code, then this is not a discovery, it is a breach. A breach in the firewall that separates observers from the observed, logic from chaos, humanity from whatever intelligence might have written it. What do you think the omega pattern really is? A glitch, a message, or something we were never meant to touch? Let us know in the comments. And if you're brave enough to continue, subscribe, hit the bell, and share this with someone who still believes reality is just physics and numbers. Because next time the omega pattern speaks, it may not whisper. It may ask a question, and expect an answer.